you don't really need me to tell you what the plot of Little Mermaid is, do you? But I will anyway. In The Little Mermaid, Ariel, played here by Halle Bailey, is the youngest daughter of King Triton, played wonderfully by Javier Bardem. And she's a rebellious teen, obsessed with all things human and desperate to better understand the world upstairs, as it were. When she rescues and falls in love with the dashing young Prince Eric, played by Jonah Hauer-King, her despair is complete. As Hans Christian Andersen says, which comes up at the beginning of the film, a mermaid has no tears and therefore she suffers so much more. But help seems to be on hand with her caring and kindly Auntie Ursula, played by Melissa McCarthy. She's a sea witch and she has a deal for her, but that comes at a terrible price. Here's a clip.
I can help you. You can't live in that world unless you become a human yourself.
Is that even possible?
It's what I live for.
So, Little Mermaid, another Disney reboot. Oh, who needs one? The animated version was a classic. Andy, what did you make of Little Mermaid?
I went into this thinking another blooming Disney live-action remake, and I came out pleasantly surprised. I actually quite enjoyed it. If you're going to do a remake, do it well, do it properly, do it spectacularly, lavish lots of money on it, lavish big sets on it, do it well. They've done it really well. I thought Hayley was great. She had the necessary wide-eyed innocence that I think is needed for the character of Ariel. The songs are classics. The new song blended well. I came out with no complaints at all. I would quite happily now sit through either version. And it's very rare that I've said that about these live action films because I've been really, really down on them. But I thought I've actually been listening to the soundtrack all week, and I thought it was really well done. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I went in with exactly the same feeling. Thought this is going to be pretty dire. And I came out absolutely loving it, I have to say.
Yeah.
I thought, I always want to call her Halle Berry, right?
Yeah, so did I. I called her that in my review.
Yeah. Halle Bailey, I mean, this is her movie debut, apart from I read a small part in a film called Last Holiday when she was 6 years old with Queen Latifah. But she's basically new into the business here. And I thought she was just mesmerising in this. As you say, she's so natural. She's got a wide-eyed, wondrous look that I think is just perfect for Disney. I thought she was simply wonderful. And all of that stuff that happened last year when the first picture came out of her, and you had that effectively a racist backlash saying she's not my Ariel, # not my Ariel. Hopefully this film knocks most of that into a cocked hat.
Yeah, I think they did a very sensible thing in bringing Rob Marshall in to direct it after his experience with Chicago and also Mary Poppins Returns. Because I don't know about you guys, I loved Mary Poppins Returns. I just thought it was everything I would have hoped for a Mary Poppins sequel. And he knows how to handle big dance musical numbers. And I thought it was great. I thought all of the performances were really good, actually. And I didn't have any complaints at all about this one.
I thought Javier Bardem and Melissa McCarthy could have been born to play those roles.
Yes.
They just seemed to fit so perfectly, like a jigsaw piece. And I thought the vocal performances as well. There's David Diggs as the crab Sebastian, and Awkwafina as well, playing Scuttle, the seagull. I didn't actually realise it was Awkwafina until one point where she squawks her line out so brilliantly Awkwafina-ish that I thought that's a terrific way to recognise that. And Jodie Benson as well, who's the voice of the original Ariel. I actually forgot she was in this, so I wasn't looking out for her, but she's one of the market sellers in the market scene on the beach. I thought the graphics and the VFX were fabulous as well, with the sort of floaty hair business going on in the water being very, very natural and very, very good. And you've just got to marvel, I think, at the music in here of Alan Menken and the lyrics of Howard Ashman. I too, like you, Andy, have been listening to the soundtrack since I've seen the film, and the lyrics of those original songs are just perfect.
Magic.
There are moments where the music just made me well up partly in nostalgia, because I took my kids to see the original film at the cinema. I particularly appreciated during that famous breast rock thrust, and we all know what we mean by that, guys, don't we? That scene in the original animation. There's such a clever lyric where Howard Ashman, who I noted the film was actually dedicated to at the end, which was nice. There's such a clever lyric where he breaks the fourth wall and he talks to the kids in the audience, as Ariel says, "Watch and you'll see, someday I'll be part of your world." It's so smart, and it just made me appreciate the music and lyrics so much more. In terms of the script, I thought it was quite clever in updating some of the original animation stuff. I mean, it stays pretty well true to the animated story, but there are a few little tweaks which kind of make it more fitting for the 2020s. And there's one point in the sea witch spell that she casts where, as well as giving her legs until the sun sets on the third day or whatever it is, she also quietly makes this addendum to the spell that says Ariel doesn't realize that she has to kiss Prince Eric in order to win, as it were, which is really good, because in the first film it's quite embarrassing how much of a slut she is, throwing herself at Prince Eric in the boat, right? And here she doesn't know she has to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a tiny little tweak to the story, but I thought it made it slightly more appropriately 2020s. I also noticed, in no spoilers, but in the finale versus the big sea witch thing, which is actually terrifying for kids, I think, in this film. It was terrifying in the animated version. I think Melissa McCarthy's enormous sea witch with the modern special effects, I think that's something parents probably need to warn kids about. But there's a nice little twist there, which again I think updates the film nicely, so that was good. I did have a few negatives. One is at 2 hours 15 minutes it's a long old slog for kids to sit through. Part of that I think is the addition of these new songs by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and you said you liked them, Andy.
I did. I thought they blended really well with the original score, the original song. They didn't seem out of place.
I wasn't as hot about the new songs, I have to say. I thought Wild Uncharted Waters was obviously in there to be nominated for the Oscar.
Probably,
and
yes.
I felt it was a little bit beyond Jonah Howe King's vocal abilities. I found it a bit squawky, to be honest, at the end. For the first time, the other song I found intensely irritating, the lyrics to that and the way it was in. I didn't like that one at all. And then there's a very Hamilton style rap called the Scuttlebutt, which has the benefit of being blissfully short. Right.
Yes, it's true.
So I to be honest, I could have done without the extra songs, to be honest. But there we go. But as you said, we both went into this thinking it was going to be dire. I thought it was really well done. I got quite emotional. I have to confess, as a grown man, I sat at the end, and as a tear rolled down Halle Bailey's face as Ariel, one matched suit and rolled down my cheek. I have to say, I don't cry very much at the cinema, but I thought the finale of this film was just beautiful. So, yeah, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10 because I thought it was spot on.
9 out of 10 from me as well, Bob. I just thought it was spot on. For me, the time just was. I appreciate what you say about being over 2 hours for kids, but I saw it with other kids in the audience. They weren't complaining. Their attention was rapt. Nobody left. Nobody walked out. And the time just flew by. So I gave it a 9 as well. And, you know, we've got Snow White coming up as the next big one, I think.
Oh,
with,
really?
Okay. Yeah, the girl who played the lead in Spielberg's West Side Story is playing Snow White in the live action. And if they do it, you know, as well, great, but we'll see.
So with a 9 and a 9, that gives us a Flickering Dreams score of 9.0, making this a very big Disney...